soldier. Whew. VR sure do make you thirsty. Well, hi guys. How long you been there? How long you been there? You didn't see. Yeah, that's a bit awkward. Hey, since you're here, welcome to this Vino Plonk production, and welcome to the first video in quite a while. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video, and there are various reasons as to why it's been a while since I've uploaded a video. But needless to say, the reasons behind why I haven't uploaded a video for 2 months, how many months it's been? I no longer care, to be honest, which is why I did that skit at the beginning, because I'm quite a goofy person when it comes away from the camera, so to speak. And I don't be goofy on camera because I am paranoid's not the word. I'm concerned of people clipping it and making things of the goofiness. But why should I shy away from who I am as a person off of camera because I'm scared of what people are going to do with the footage on camera? At the end of the day, haters be haters, fans be fans. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you fall upon. Welcome to my channel. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, there's going to be a bit of a renaissance when it comes to my channel, and with that renaissance starts right here, right freaking now, and we're going to talk about some things. So the first thing we're going to talk about is actually what I just showed off at the start of this video. Before we get on to this though, I do want to talk about some bits and bobs that have gone on over the last couple of months. I've bought some box sets here and there. There's a few games launching this Friday. God, there are a few games launching this Friday and next week that, by God, the game calendar is looking quite meaty, quite chunky at the moment for me. So Monster Hunter Rise is coming out this Friday as I record this video. It's the 24th of Wednesday, the 24th of March, and this Friday and the 26th there's quite a few games coming out. So Monster Hunter Rise is coming out for the Switch. All the reviews for that dropped either yesterday or today, and there are quotes going around: the best game since Breath of the Wild on the Switch, or the best Monster Hunter game that has yet been. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I've got a bias against the technical proficiency of any handheld system, and the Switch is primarily a handheld system. Now, I have had this debate / argument quite a few times with various people who play it primarily in consoleized or TV mode, docked mode, that it is still a handheld system. It is still a handheld system. And with that comes for some provisions. The Switch is never going to be as powerful as the PS4, Xbox One, or even of course the PS5 and the Xbox Series X/S. X/S? X/SAS? The Xbox X/SAS. Now that is an interesting console name. I think Axe, the deodorant manufacturer, would be there'd be some problems with that, but the Series X and the Series SAS, that's something I can get behind. Hey, Microsoft, if you're listening, if you're watching, hey, why don't you call it the Xbox X or the Xbox SAS? Anyway, that's what I mean by goofiness. Where was I? Where the hell was I? Yeah, so the Switch is never going to come up to the same technical proficiency as a you know, a standalone console. But then none of Nintendo's systems, from the Wii to the Wii U to the GameCube, although the GameCube was actually more powerful than the PS2. But Nintendo don't compete with the big boys, and the Switch being the handheld system, it doesn't compete with your Xboxes and your PSs of the world. So when it comes to how good a game can be on a system like that, I set my expectations much lower. There's this thing called the Switch syndrome, or the Switch effect, that I like to talk about, wherein people seem to have this fascination with the Switch because it's handheld, because it's portable, because of these various things. There's this allure to the Switch that I don't personally understand. I should state I primarily play my Switch in docked mode and forget it's a handheld system sometimes. So keep that feather in your cap. Keep that piece of information somewhere safe for later, because you may require it in a minute. And there are so many people that will literally double, triple, quadruple dip on some sort of game because it's on the Switch and it's portable, and I'm there going, huh? Especially nowadays where you've got Xbox Cloud, whatever that's called. It used to be called xCloud, but they've changed that name, or Project xCloud. You can stream your PS4, 5, whatever, to your phone or tablet or whatever you want it to do. And yet people are still like, I can play my Switch in bed. I'm like, you can play your Xbox in bed. You can play your PS whatever in bed. You can play something else in bed. And yet there seems to be this fascination over the Switch being a portable system, and you can take it different places. Yeah, I'm aware you can take it different places, but there are many systems nowadays. You can play your PC in bed, actually. Yeah, because there's Steam streaming on phones nowadays, and there's Nvidia's streaming thing on phones these days. So you can play anything in bed, technically. Anyway. So that confuses me about the Switch. And also I set my expectations lower than some other systems because it's a handheld system. It works on a mobile chip. Having said that though, this works on a mobile chip, and we'll be talking about that in a bit. So when a game is coming to the Switch, I set my expectations to a certain level. And even when the reviewers are telling me that that game is the best of its kind, and there's literally Monster Hunter World came out on every platform under the sun, not quite, but came out to PC, Xbox and PS a couple of years ago. The PC version was a year delayed, but it did eventually hit the PC. And it changed the face of Monster Hunter history. It changed the face of what Monster Hunter once was. And brought in a whole new audience, and is the best-selling Monster Hunter game to date. I love the heck out of Monster Hunter World. I bought it on release day, if not a week or two later, when I had the money to do so. I loved that game. I got so sucked into that game and was so distraught when I had to sell the game due to too much month left at the end of the money. You get what I'm saying? That whole thing. I was cut up about it, I'll be honest. And I kept looking to rebuy the game, but once you've bought a game for £50, sold it for 20, and you look to buy it again for around the same price you sold it for, you can't. It held its value for so long, so long. Now, it did drop to around £15-20 on PSN for a bit, but I wasn't in a position to buy it for that very, very nice price. If you bought it for that price, even if you see it for that price again, buy it. In fact, nowadays you can buy both the base game and Iceborne, I think that's its DLC name, for about £25 on sale. It's constantly on sale on the Xbox because it's on Game Pass. They're trying to encourage you to buy it anyway, it being on Game Pass, so you can see it for £25 for both the base game and Iceborne. That is a cracking deal. If you see it for that, get it, lap it up, play it. It's still a wonderful game. But it made a lot of changes to the Monster Hunter formula that brought in a whole new players. I started playing again once it entered Game Pass because I already subscribed to the service. So a game that I've played before, yes, I'd start all over again because saves don't transfer between platforms. I really wish they did. And actually, once upon a time, Mass Effect 2 or 3, I had to buy it on the Xbox, whatever it was. So it's the collector's edition. Turns out you can actually take a PC game file and use it on an Xbox. Apparently. Sounds pretty cool, actually, if you ask me. However, I really wish nowadays, to be honest, with how cloud saves are a thing and all that kind of stuff. I know some companies do it, like Rocket League and not Dauntless. Is it Dauntless? What's that other game? Warframe. That's one, Warframe. You can sign into a global account. Destiny does it as well, I've just realised. You can sign into a global account that holds your save, and it doesn't matter what platform you then play that game on, it can, you know, deliver the save to you over the cloud. I wish that Nintendo, Sony and Microsoft would speak to each other to get that feature in place. Imagine how many people you would get to buy games on your platform, on your system if you did that. Heck, you can imagine some friends are like, oh, do you want to play some Dead by Daylight? Actually, that's a good example because I've been playing that recently. And you've bought some content, some DLC and Dead by Daylight. You've got some characters, you've leveled up and what have you. And your friends go, although Dead by Daylight is now crossplay, but forget it's crossplay. And your friends go, oh, do you want to play, us on some PlayStation? And you're like, yeah, no worries, let me just log into this site, grab my save game and away we go. Or you could be like, a friend could be like, oh, do you want to play on PlayStation? I don't have it on PlayStation. The friends band together to buy it for that person on PlayStation because you can all play together, and then that friend just needs to transfer their save across. Bish, bash, bosh, you're there on the platform together. You know, platform separation happens, I think, primarily because of saves, if I'm being honest. People want to stay on the same system because they don't want their save to be lost. Let's be honest. But hey ho. So yes, I had to start Monster Hunter World all over again, but was loving every minute of it, to be honest. And it is a technically very proficient game, very pretty, very nice looking game to look at. And when I hear reviewers say that Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch is better than its predecessor, meaning Monster Hunter World, and sets a new bar for the series, and it's on a system that I'm questioning its technical proficiency. And I'm kind of like, really? I was literally there in disbelief, watching these reviews and what have you, saying that Monster Hunter Rise is the next best thing since sliced bread as far as the Switch is concerned. And then there's me scratching my head going, well, I was kind of going to pick it up anyway, because I've got a couple of friends who want to play it. So it's what I just spoke about, the whole, playing with your buddies thing, although it is an exclusive game to the Switch, but that's beside the point. You're telling me that it's best thing since Breath of the Wild, but it's still on people's top list when they talk about Switch games. I take notice, but I'm still there in disbelief, thinking, is it possible that this is actually better than a game that's, on the Xbox and the PlayStations and the PCs, and has more power behind it on those games? Now, Capcom, or the developer within Capcom that works on the Monster Hunter games, has built this game from the ground up for the Switch. And they've utilised the hardware so well. Now, I know the Switch's hardware is very easy to code for. It works on an NVIDIA chip. It's a customised NVIDIA X, which is the chip that used to be in the NVIDIA Shield. This works on NVIDIA XR, which is a VR equivalent derivative version of the NVIDIA X. And it's a very powerful chip, don't get me wrong. But I'm still there in disbelief. I'm going to be picking up anyway, but just wanted to go on that little tangent. I say little tangent about, is it really that good? It's weird. I've got these weird hold-ups when it comes to various things about different systems and what have you. It's like, I watched this YouTube channel called Food for Dogs. A New Zealander, an old New Zealand woman who loves her Switch, loves her PS4, but not her Switch, her Vita, her PS Vita, loves her PS Vita, has an affinity for the Vita. And it's saying that to her, there are some games on the Vita that are better than other systems. Even ports from the PS4 are better on the Vita, as far as she's concerned. Oh yes, personal preference does play a part in this, but there's me still scratching my head, thinking, how can a game play better? Keep that to one side. Play better on the Vita than the PS4. It doesn't play better. That's what I've got to try and remember. It doesn't necessarily play better. It's just her personal preference is the Vita, not the PS4. She prefers to be handheld. However, I watch her channel and sometimes I scratch my head over, she loves her Vita so much. And she says that the games are better on the Vita. That's one hell of a bias to the Vita, I say. But nonetheless. So yeah, Monster Hunter Rise is coming out this Friday, alongside Starbase Startopia on the PC, which is a remake of a game that I played way back when. One of my favourite games on the PC. Also coming out this Friday is Evil Genius 2, which is a sequel / remake of Evil Genius, which was an old strategy game, kind of a base building game where you're an evil genius, an evil villain, building up a base and taking over the world, essentially, with that secret base. And then next week you've got Outriders on April the 1st. You've got Binding of Isaac Repentance on the 30th or the 31st of March. Yeah, there's a lot coming out at the moment. And I'm kind of already feeling swamped. And it hasn't even gotten to some of those games coming out yet. And I'm already like, that's a lot of games. That's a lot of games coming out there. But Outriders is coming to Game Pass on April the 1st. By the way, which I'm excited about, to be honest. Outriders on Game Pass. It's going to be interesting. So, yeah, a lot of games coming out that I'm looking forward to, and looking forward to experience on the different platforms they come out on. Talking of experiencing on platforms, now we're going to talk about this. So I bought, if you don't know what this is, an Oculus Quest 2 about 2 months back. VR is incredible. VR is a new way to play. It's different from console gaming, handheld gaming. It's its own category again. You play VR games differently how you play any other game that's currently out on the market. VR is still very much in its infancy. Mark Zuckerberg and a few other people, players in the VR space have been talking about there are AAA VR games coming. I mean, they are already out. There are some AAA experiences out, like Half-Life Alyx and some other things. But I think what they mean is AAA games on par with the AAA games that are coming out on consoles and stuff. There aren't like big AAA games coming out of VR because no one yet wants to take that big punt, that big chance, that risk, I suppose, on the system, on the platform, just yet when it comes to that. But a lot of them are saying that the AAA games are coming. But to me, VR does still feel like a little bit of a beta, or maybe even alpha. It still feels like parts of it are a little bit unpolished. And to be honest, I love that about VR. I've been playing some early access games on VR that are available on a service, on a section of the Oculus store called the App Lab that you get through via SideQuest, which is a strange route to get through it. But anyway, the fact that Oculus are so on board with SideQuest is bizarre and really cool, to be honest, when it comes to Facebook and the Oculus team. So App Lab basically gives you access to non-finished VR games. You're on the cutting edge of VR stuff, and you can see where those games are coming from, going to, all that cool stuff. And it's fascinating stuff. I've got one problem though, and it's called motion sickness. So, when I first got my Oculus Quest 2, people have spoken about the VR funk that happens when you stop playing VR for a bit, and I do feel that funk. But I wasn't feeling it as much as other people were. Other people were saying that it's really bad, that they need to lie down sometimes, they need to decompress from VR, that sort of stuff. And there's me thinking, that hasn't happened to me yet. Now, there are a lucky few in the world that don't suffer from the VR funk or motion sickness or those things. And there was me thinking, I'm one of those lucky people that's not going to experience those problems. I played a game called Echo VR. And think of it as the discus game from Tron, just in a anti-grav or zero-grav space. It gave me motion sickness. But I was able to get over that pretty quickly and it didn't affect me too much. Then I downloaded a game called Ancient Dungeon, which is graphically a lot like Minecraft, but it's a dungeon crawler. Think Zelda meets Minecraft in terms of graphics, and you're onto something there. Or more like a 3D FPS Binding of Isaac kind of thing. When I say Zelda, I mean old school Zelda. And the first couple of times I played it, I was fine. The third time I played it for about, I think it was 3 minutes, I think it was. I played it and I felt heavily sick. To the point where I could have, needed to go and deal with it. I took the VR headset off. I sat precisely where I am now and just had to decompress myself for a while. I then proceeded to lay down on the sofa and did not feel good at all. Any movement, any adjustment just made me feel even more sick. I finally fell asleep on the sofa and then woke up a few hours later, still had that discombobulation, but did feel better. Ever since then, playing VR, I feel some kind of motion sickness. Even playing Poker Stars VR, which is a bloody poker game where you're sat in place playing poker in VR, gives me motion sickness now. It's to the point where I can only play VR for very short spurts of time before I start feeling queasy. And it's to the point now where I need to consider whether I want to carry on with VR or if VR is not for me because of, those physical shortcomings when it comes to my own comfort level with VR. I'm going to talk with some friends and maybe my dad and talk about, where I go with this, what my options are, get their advice and go from there. But VR as a system to play games on, to watch videos on, also videos as well. I get motion sickness videos as well. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and it's definitely the future. It's just not for everybody. That's the problem. It's not for everybody, and there are people who are going to suffer with motion sickness or balance issues or queasiness issues. So that's a bit of an issue, but hopefully we can, or the people behind VR can sort that kind of stuff out. The last thing I want to talk about in this video, you just saw it, there's a box set that came out at the end of last year that everybody on YouTube seemed to buy, and I didn't really want to miss out on the party, if I'm being honest, although I did originally because this was out of print, but it's recently gone down in price on eBay to a point where I'm comfortable paying the price I did. And it is the Second Sight film Dawn of the Dead Blu-ray box set. There is a 4K version of this out as well, and Second Sight films are about to release a cheaper version of this that's not limited edition that everybody can buy, because this is a limited edition. Obviously, I said it went out of print. This is one of those sets that it seems everybody was excited for it to come out. It's now here. It is probably now, the standard when it comes to this sort of thing. It's a fantastic box set. The film, I've watched about an hour of it. Absolutely fantastic. I can see why it's a cult classic. It's hard to recommend this at the £100 price tag, unless you're a real die-hard fan of Dawn of the Dead. I'd wait for Second Sight Films non-limited edition, which I think might be out already, or might be out in April at some point. I'd wait for that version. Arrow Video, I think, are also going to re-release, in the process of re-releasing the film as well. So maybe wait for one of those versions. But if you do really want to go for this deluxe version, look for it on eBay in places. But it is, it is fetch a pretty penny, £100 to over £100. I paid less than that, but I'm happy with the price I paid personally. But it's hard to recommend this personally for £100. You can get sets that have a lot more gubbins and stuff in there than this does. But again, I can't dictate what you do with your money. But just a bit of a recommendation from me is either wait, or if you do find this for under £100, maybe then consider picking it up. But very good box set though. Just not worth the price it's now getting on eBay because it's out of print. So that's me. I want to talk about some bits here and there, going a bit of a tangent, and yeah, not really sure what else to discuss. Videos are going to come back with Reckless Abandon. I am back on my game, and you know, haters be haters is what I'm going to say. But until next time, guys, please take care, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-ra!